All right, today we're going to be talking about learning to graph an equation using a table of values. But first, let's just review some of the things that we've done in the recent past. First, find the slope of a line containing the points -3 and 8 and 2 and -11. So let's go ahead and use the slope formula. So if you recall, the slope formula just basically said y2 minus y1, so -11 subtract 8, and all of that would be on top of x2 minus x1. So 2 minus -3. So we do that subtraction, -11 minus 8 equals -19. And 2 minus -3 means 2 plus 3, which is 5. So our slope would be -19/5, which is a pretty big negative slope. So for our next equation, we've been working on writing equations in slope-intercept form if we were given the slope and we're given the intercept. And the intercept is down here. Remember, sometimes we use the letter B for the intercept. So now we have the y-intercept of -4. So let's go ahead and write that equation. Y equals -1x minus 4. So there's the equation in slope-intercept form as this y-intercept and this. Oh, I've got it backwards. We've got to fix that. See how I've got the numbers reversed? So let's fix that problem. And sometimes we'll make that mistake when we're doing this, and we need to correct our mistake. So the slope is -4x, and the y-intercept is -1. This graph actually goes with this next problem. Okay, and so we're going to do the same thing here, except we have to find b, which we've already found. So b on the graph over there is -4. And the slope m, we've got to calculate using our little counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you go down 9. And then over to the right, 1, 2, 3 to get to the other point. So the down through 9 over 3 gives us our slope, which simplifies to be -3. So when we write our equation, we're just going to write y equals -3x minus 4. Now if we had written y equals -9/3 x minus 4, Alex would have been just fine with that. So, good job. Now we've reviewed what we've been doing so far. Today we're going to do a little different spin on things. We're going to be graphing these equations when we're going to use a table of values that looks something like this. So basically what you're going to be doing is given an equation, and you're going to plug in 3 numbers for x. And most of the time, we're going to plug in -1, 0, and 1, just because they're close to the origin or the center of the graph, and we want our data to fit on the graph when we graph it. So we'll plug those in. Now, that's what we'll do on all of these problems, unless there's a fraction. If there's a fraction in front of x, like this one, then the coefficient, whatever the bottom of that number is, we will then use that number. Instead of -1 and 1, we'll have -2 and 2. If the fraction would have had a 4 on the bottom of it, we would use -4 and 4. And then this way, when we get our answers, we won't have any fractions in them. So after we've substituted these numbers into the equation, we'll solve for y, and then write a set of ordered pairs that goes with that, and then graph it. So let's do one in real time here. So we got y equals x plus 1. That really means y equals 1x plus 1. So y equals 1x plus 1 is the number the equation we're putting these numbers into. So this is what it looks like. First of all, we got 1 times negative 1 plus 1. 1 times 0 plus 1. And 1 times 1 plus 1. So now let's calculate our other part of the answer. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 would be 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So a lot of 1s and 0s and negative 1s in that particular problem. So 1 and 2. So the last part of this problem, before we graph it, we want you to write these as ordered pairs. So negative 1, 0. 1, comma 1, and 1, comma 2. Oh, this middle one was 0, comma 1, and then 1, comma 2. There's our 3. Now let's graph them. Negative 1 and 0. 0 and 1. And over 1 and up 2. So this is where our line will come through those 3 points. And if you've got a ruler handy, use the ruler to help you draw a nice, long, straight line with an arrow on each end. Let's try another one. So this one got y equals negative 2x plus 1. That's still an integer for your coefficient, so we're going to stick with negative 1, 0, and 1. So this time we're multiplying by negative 2 and then adding 1, right? So what will that look like? So negative 2 times negative 1 plus 1. So negative 2 times negative 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Negative 2 times 0 plus 1, which would be 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. And then negative 2 times 1 plus 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So our ordered pairs that we're going to be graphing are negative 1 and 3, 0, 1, 1 and negative 1. So that would look like this. Negative 1 and 3, 0 and 1, and 1 and negative 1. So let's graph them up. So negative 1 and 3. So negative 1 and 1, 2, 3. 0 and 1. And negative, or 1 and negative 1. So that line goes down like that. And so there we go. There's our graph of that equation. So as you can see, it's a little bit of work, a little bit tedious, but not difficult mathematics involved. Okay, here's one where there is no number after the x, so it makes it actually a little bit easier. Negative 3x. So that just means that we're going to multiply negative 3 times negative 1. Negative 3 times 0. And negative 3 times 1. So if we do that, negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. So there's our 3 ordered pairs. Let's write them out. Negative 1 and 3. 0, comma 0. And 1, comma negative 3. And let's get those graphed. So in this case, you got negative 1 and 3. So back 1 and 1, 2, 3. 0 and 0 right there in the center. And 1 and negative 3. Over 1 and down 1, 2, 3. Oops, I turned off my marker. Here we go. 1 and -3. So my line's going to come down through like that. And there we go. So let's see that. We're going to do one more example. Let's say that we had the equation 1/4 x plus 1. So in that case, we're going to change our numbers that we have in here from -1 to -4. And this 1 over here, we're going to change that to +4. That way, when we multiply by 1/4, we'll get rid of the fraction. So 1/4 x plus 1. So when we put in -1/4, we get 1/4 times -4 plus 1. So 1/4 times -4 plus 1, that would be -1 plus 1, which would be 0. Then if we put in 0, 1/4 times 0 plus 1 would be 1. And 1/4 times 4 plus 1. 1/4 of 4 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So there's our 3 ordered pairs. Let's graph them up. So that we're going to be graphing -4, 0. So -1, 2, 3, 4, 0. Then 0 and 1. So 0 and 1. And then we got 4, 2. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1, 2. So there's our line. And it's a straight line and it goes off in each direction. So that's how you'll do them if you have a fraction in your coefficient. So your assignment is a worksheet. Make sure that you, as we showed here, you show the calculations, the ordered pairs, the numbers, and the correct graph. If you don't show all those parts, then you'll lose some of your points. Thank you very much.